Coffee drinking in the West has changed beyond recognition in the last 10 years. In the UK alone, almost 10 espressos and cappuccinos are sold each second. But behind the sophistication of the high street coffee chains is an industry in turmoil. Nowhere is that more evident than in Central America. Nearly all the rainforests here in El Salvador conceal coffee farms, once the mainstay of the economy, but no longer. El Salvador has farmed it here for hundreds of years, and each year the hopes of thousands are pinned on the coffee harvest. But the turbulence of the coffee markets has never been kind to farmers. Now times are harder than ever.
The history of your morning cup of coffee starts here. The nut inside these berries is the most heavily traded commodity in the world after oil, but it's also the livelihood of millions of the world's poorest people. 4 years ago, the world's coffee price crashed to a third of its value, and the social consequences were massive.
The slump in the coffee price has become a cause célèbre in the development movement, and it's not hard to see why. In El Salvador in the late 1980s, coffee amounted to nearly half of its exports. Now it's nearer to just 8%. But at the coffee cooperative of Las Lajas, there's a glimmer of hope for the 3,000 people who depend on it. A local environmental group backed by the American charity Rainforest Alliance has been helping farmers get a higher price for coffee beans produced with rigorous environmental and social standards. The farms submit to a tough process of inspection and certification, but in exchange get access to a premium market, eager for high-quality coffee.
The way Rainforest Alliance works with the producing communities is we go in and we do an audit of the farm. So we look at their performance against about 200 different indicators, social, environmental, and economic. Things like what's happening with the coffee waste, what type of shade is there in terms of the types of trees around the coffee, what type of protection for wildlife habitat, what type of housing for the workers, do they have a right to organize, how are they being paid.
Farmers like Simon Antonio Chavez are advised how to farm using less harmful pesticides and fertilizers, how to process the coffee beans without polluting water supplies, and how to keep coffee pickers in work at decent rates of pay.
Previously, under the old system, workers had to look for work outside the community when the coffee price dropped to a certain level, because it was unsustainable to employ all those available to work from the community.
Zoila Margarita Alajon has been picking coffee beans here since she was a young girl. Now she's the breadwinner in her family and one of the few who are lucky enough to have a job year-round. This is a lucrative time of year. On a good day, she can earn $5.
Bueno, como aquí uno entra a las 7 de la mañana.
I arrive at the farm at around 7 and have lunch at around midday. I'm back at work at 1 and leave around 4. I need to work fast because the faster you work, the more you get. They treat you well here because you get wood fuel for cooking and get drinking water, and the children get medical care.
The prospects for the cooperative at Las Lajas look brighter thanks to a partnership between Rainforest Alliance and the food giant Kraft Foods. Kraft bought 2,400 tons of the higher-priced beans from Latin America last year and pledged to more than double that amount in 2005. The revolutionary aspect of the partnership is that Kraft intends to incorporate the certified coffee into its mainstream non-specialist coffee lines.
The current price of coffee is driven by demand and supply, and we play a very important role in building demand for coffee through our innovative new products and our strong marketing efforts for our coffee products around the world. But besides the demand side, we can work on the supply side, and this is where working with organizations like the Rainforest Alliance are very important to us in terms of being able to go to farmers and help them grow their crops in a more sustainable way, but also very importantly with a higher quality that engenders a more premium price.
Just up the road from Las Lajas, a private family farm has also gone over to the Rainforest Alliance certification. 4 years ago, the father and son team of Robert and Diego Lach radically changed the way they farmed and made a major investment. All of their 9 farms stopped using harmful pesticides, embraced environmentally friendly technology, and pledged to increase the benefits for their workers. They've literally bet the farm on a new market for coffee.
The Lach family have been in the coffee business for over 100 years. But Just 4 years ago, the site of this coffee mill was a bare hillside. It's been custom built with one consumer in mind, the environmentally conscious and socially conscious coffee drinker. It's a niche market, but it's one that they're convinced is about to grow, and grow dramatically.
We are not a country that can compete by price. It's a very labor-intensive crop. Rainforest gives us this edge. It permits us to enter into this niche. So it is helping us in differentiating ourselves. However, we can't stop here. This is just the beginning. It will give us the pillars and where to stand by to guarantee sustainability.
What Rainforest Alliance is hoping for is that their environmentally friendly methods of coffee farming will restore lost wildlife habitats and return El Salvador to some of its native forest, as well as creating better pay and conditions for coffee workers. But there's another, more subtle benefit. The farms that overhaul their production methods also have to become more efficient, and that in turn can produce other cost savings.
The secret weapon in wild forest coffee's battle with the ever-present coffee pests is this, the humble marigold. They grow large quantities of it here because they say that a simple infusion is just as effective as chemical pesticides. Well, they should know, but one thing's for sure, it's an awful lot cheaper.
After a hard day's work, it's time to weigh up the day's earnings.
These coffee pickers have come from all over El Salvador to earn what for many of them will be the only disposable income they'll see all year. Their well-being is completely tied to the survival of the country's coffee industry.
Back at Las Lacas, Margarita and her daughter head home. The irony is that although their cooperative is held up as a paragon by Rainforest Alliance and Kraft, it's still struggling financially. It's going to take some time before there'll be any indication if certification alone is going to make a lasting impact on El Salvador's coffee industry.